Hi, everybody. Welcome to the second segment, episode 275 of Sold with Updike Pugh. I'm Jeff Updike.
I'm Weston Pugh, and today we thought we would talk a little bit about prosperity. Oh, no. It's Prosper, and it's not quite Oklahoma. Well, that was cute, Jeff. Look what you did. Not quite, but it is where the toll road ends.
Well, currently.
But it is where it ends.
I did get to drive for the first time. I drove back over the overpass over 380 onto the tollway.
It's all the way, and then what is that? 380, and you take a left, and then you're getting into it.
Yeah.
Still got to go a little north,
Yeah.
but it's good. It's very interesting.
So, Prosper was founded back in the 1840s, and it's always been this primarily agricultural community.
Mm-hmm.
And farm for days. I mean, and now it's subdivision after subdivision after subdivision. It was named Prosper in the 1900s because of all the prosperity that went on in that part of the world. There was a lot of trade that came through there, a lot of cattle drives that moving them on over
To Fort Worth Stock Yards?
Yeah. And then in the mid-20th century, they faced economic challenges and the urbanization of Dallas-Fort Worth. That's really where the change began to happen 40 years ago, 50 years ago, when the planning of the infrastructure was taking place and there were so many of these commercial entities that were buying property. But, it's turned out to be a really, I've never spent a lot of time in Prosper, but I feel like we have lately. But it's really such a great, vital place.
So I feel like they have done a lot of thinking, the planners of the community, and said, this is what worked in Allen, this is what worked in Frisco, and this is what we don't want to do in like what we saw in whatever subdivisions. And they've really taken a move forward. And there is a little bit topography over there. I was really, we noticed that there's a little more of this. The PGA has done a massive investment in that. I think the Byron Nelson should be there in the next year or two, which
Probably.
is substantial. They also last week just introduced or announced that there was like a $300 million 35-acre art district. Now I think their interpretation of the art district might be a little bit different than what the art district in Dallas, but I think overall it's trying to focus on bringing cultural items into that area. The biggest thing that I noticed, because we had buyers, I think that's, back up. The reason why we're talking about this is because we had buyers that were coming from California, and you and I for the last 30 days have been working with them to try to discover wants, needs, and desires, and then match that up to budget and what housing is available. And Prosper really just ended up being one of the leads that we found, and there was a community there called Star Trail. Star Trail is Jerry Jones backed. It's one of his Blue Star properties. And what we found really interesting about this is rather than be on one of those giant suburban grids, I think that always of Weeds.
Yeah.
When they start off the episode, Tiki House.
Yeah.
Tiki House. This is not like that. It's almost like this enormous roundabout. And then off of that, you peel off into your boroughs. So there's no way to make a giant drive through the entire neighborhood, right?
Straight through the neighborhood, yeah.
Which I think really adds value. And because of this giant roundabout that goes around, they really focused on the landscaping and creating more like just a lazy drive, but with berms and with trees, with large walk paths through
Lots
there.
of native plants.
I thought they did a great job there. They also are really focused on outdoor activities. I feel like they're really trying to push people out of the cocooning. I felt like in the 2000s, everything was cocoon. And now they are really inviting everyone to get back out and participate, whether it's in the community centers, whether it's the trails, going out to the tennis courts, the pickleball courts. It's unique.
Or just creating the opportunities for more outdoor living now.
I agree. And they're really thoughtful in their design. There's a wide range. I think there's 6 different builders out there. And it's not a terribly large, probably low end is probably 8 and the high is 2.6 million. It was very interesting also to discover that their tax rate is 1.9%. That's a lot different.
They don't have the debt.
One of the other things too that we were talking that I thought was also interesting is that there was no mud tax or PID tax out there. So that's a huge value add. Also, we had a really great Colleen and Jeff were great sales counselors out there. And Jeff shared with us he's been with the builder for over 30 years. And he said that there are 15 employees of that company that actually live in that neighborhood in Prosper.
That says quite a bit for itself.
Huge.
Yeah.
He and Colleen both live out there.
Wow.
So I will tell you this much, coming from New Home Sales, you never, ever, ever wanted to live in the neighborhood that you sold in. You could go live in someone else's. So for them to say that they'll live in the neighborhood that they also sell in, that's a huge point. So anyway, it was a wonderful experience. I think that they did a great job with that.
So I hope you found that helpful. If there are any other small towns you'd like for us to talk about and gather a little information for, we'd be happy to do that.
And just remember, we want to be realtors for life.
When you're ready to talk real estate, you can reach us online, by phone, or by text at 214-377-2223.
And remember, we want to be realtors for life.